Hi there, Z here, and welcome to a very special schlocky movie review because today we're not looking at a movie with a shoestring budget of $13 and a old camcorder that the filmmaker found in the floorboards of his studio apartment when he moved in. No. Today we are reviewing Verotika, which is a 2019 horror movie with a estimated budget of about $1 million and is not only directed but written by Glenn Danzig.
Mother, tell your children not to walk my way.
Yes, you heard right. Glenn Danzig, heavy metal superstar of the 80s who sang a still really great song, Mother, but I think we can all agree that he's more known for his cameo on the television show Aqua Teen Hunger Force, episode Cybernetic Ghost of Christmas Past from the Future, where he buys Carl Nanalewski's house because it's filled with Martian elf blood. You know, that old chestnut of an episode. And I won't lie, this was a video I should have done a while ago, but to be fair, I only found out about it when a YouTube channel I personally watch a lot, Red Letter Media, go ahead and check them out if you like to see a couple guys who actually know about movies, review this and stated...
That was the one where the next day people were writing articles like, this is the new The Room.
Right.
Which I disagree with, but we'll get into it.
At which case, I had to immediately turn it off so I wouldn't be spoiled by anything and look at the reviews myself.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
And it was at this time I decided that I needed to find out why this movie was so god-awful, and if this was a Bad Ben level of terrible, where it's still really entertaining to watch, or the Incredible Bulk level of terrible, where it's just very mediocre. So, if it's all the same to you guys, I'm gonna pop these babies on right now, and I'm gonna watch this. I'll catch up with you later. Well, that was something. That was definitely something. Man, I never thought I would be tired of seeing bare breasts in a movie, but I guess it only took 30 years in this particular movie. Speaking of the movie, that's usually what people do in reviews. They kind of talk about the thing they just watched. What to talk about. I honestly have no idea what I'm going to talk about, guys. I don't know exactly what I just saw here. I need something to kind of take the edge off a little bit and kind of make things right. So excuse me one moment. It's coming back to me now. Okay. It's coming back to me. The alcohol is helping. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. That's usually what I do in any of my reviews. We start from the beginning and we make a case going forward. Just to tell you guys, there's going to be editing in this one. There's a lot of stuff that happened in this movie that I can't show on YouTube. It would make Susan's panties just kind of wad up with the idea of it. So, instead of putting in said terrible, raunchy, apparently awful scenes, I'm going to put in other things, like clips of blue-footed boobies. We'll put those in. And maybe little kittens, too. People like little kittens. It's pretty popular on the internet. And while we're on the subject, why don't we just kind of put in Aqua Teen Hunger Force references to kind of help us out here so we all remember what made Danzig so well-known. Second well-known now. The most thing he'll be well-known for right now is being a creepy, perverted writer/director. So, let's do it. I'm gonna get myself another beer because it's gonna be tough. So, we start off with what I can imagine Danzig's kink is, a hot woman tied up and screaming with another hot woman slowly walking towards her with ill intent and horns? Maybe? She looks like she might need some head and shoulders. Doesn't really matter here. What really matters is this is the worst acting I've seen in a long time.
Bubble, bubble. Toil and trouble. What utter nonsense.
Boy, could you sound any less intimidating for an apparent demon murderer witch, okay? And after a Three Stooges bit goes awry, she turns to the camera and introduces herself as Marella, the dark hostess of this movie. Now, it was at this point I had some bad feelings at the pit of my stomach, because this just screamed to me Tales from the Crypt. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that are either too young or had parents that put channel blocks on your television when you were a kid, but Tales from the Crypt was a show from 1989 to 1996 on HBO and had a mummified puppet called the Crypt Keeper. The show consisted of short horror stories, a lot like Are You Afraid of the Dark, but more aimed towards an audience of adults, and in between these stories, the Crypt Keeper would come in, say some corny shit, do his creepy laugh, and the show would go on. Now, what the Crypt Keeper had, besides awful puns and terrible out-of-date jokes, was charisma. The voice actor made the puppet, and the puppet made the voice actor. Everything was copacetic, which made the show a real blast to watch back in the day, and is still pretty interesting nowadays. What this woman brings is, erotic blood licking, and a voice that is so flat, if she was in a waiting room at a hospital, they'd start chest compressions.
My name is Marella, and this is Verotika.
What I'm trying to say is, if this woman is going to be our host throughout this entire movie, I need another beer. Excuse me. So, after a pretty decent beginning with weird images and creepy music and the worst CGI spider I've ever seen in my entire life, we get to our story, the albino spider of Dajit, and we open with a couple getting it on. Oh my god, is that really the spider we're going to be using in the movie? I thought what we saw in the beginning credits was just kind of like a placeholder until someone put the final version of the spider, but no? No, I guess we're rolling with this spider that looks like it was made from a high school computer class. Got it. We really have to kind of shave down that $1 million budget, don't we, Danzig? Anyway, I can't show it, but let's just say this foreplay gets really, what's the word? Rapey. Yeah, it gets uncomfortably rapey when the man starts forcefully pulling off the woman's shirt only to reveal... Again, I can't say what it is, but Frylock, can you show the audience what happens? Because apparently when a cartoon does it, it's fine. I kid you not. This woman, who is our main protagonist by the name of Dajit, kind of like, you know, in the title, has eyes on her tits where nipples should be. Okay, you're right, guys. I understand. We're not even 3 minutes into this film and we're having areola eyes staring right into our fucking soul, but let me just tell you, they're not even that good. So to some of you out there saying, does it even look fine? No, it looks terrible. Well, the boobs look fine on their own here, but the eyes just look like they're high-quality pasties blended into said boobs. So, yeah, not really blowing my mind here. And apparently, we're not the only ones disgusted by it because the man wants no part of those perky pupils and leaves. Start taking notes, ladies. Perfect way to not get raped is have a horrible physical deformation you can hide underneath your clothing because apparently it's a great deterrent for creeps. And with the man running for his life and screaming for help, it attracted a fellow model friend that she lives with, and this is where you notice the acting is truly porn star levels. It's delightfully awful.
Mahia, it happened again. And it was all going so well.
Then he's insensitive pig. Good riddance.
Acting.
The acting, the long reaction time, the French accents that sound like something a racist schlub like me would do and not, you know, professional actors. I laughed so hard at this point of the tone-deaf awkwardness that was just being thrown about, but even a person like me has a breaking point. And apparently mine is 8 minutes into this movie because you remember that spider, right? That terrible looking spider? The one that was crawling on the flower that was all the way across the room on a side table? Okay, so after the man runs out, she gets sad because she didn't get laid. Very understandable. And her tits start crying. Stop laughing. The incompetence doesn't stop there. Hold that in your stomach so you can get a great big belly laugh at the end of this. A tear falls from her crying tits and lands on the spider who is still standing on the flower that's several feet away from her. It falls to the ground and it gets transformed into an 8-foot-tall murderous French Spider-Man with only 2 working arms and 4 non-functional rubber appendages. Now you can collectively lose your mind like I did when I saw this shit. Holy hell, why isn't this woman a millionaire? Her tits could be bottled and sold to foreign caliphates just so they can make super soldiers from ants and fucking cockroaches. If this abomination only came from one droplet on one common house spider, imagine what multiple droplets on a tarantula will do. We'll have our very first spider tank. It would be fantastic. Oh, but there is a caveat, okay? Let's take it down a notch. We're all getting a little bit too excited from the magical tit demon. Let's just calm down because there is a rule. He can only be awakened and kill when Dajit is sleeping. So as long as she's awake, no fucking problem. Am I right or am I right? Unfortunately, she is unaware of this at the beginning though and falls asleep, leaving Mr. Man Spider to attack and kill her roommate in the most awkward struggle scene I've ever seen in my life. The music doesn't help either. I mean, this does not sound like a killing woman scene. This sounds like someone's dancing in a cafe or something.
No!
How? How in the hell could you be this bad? I'm literally at a loss for words. Like, you couldn't have maybe gotten a second take with a little bit more realistic emotion, you know? No, we're just burning the midnight oil here. We only have so much film, and it's not like we have $1 million to buy more film. But hey, if you think maybe adding a little bit more tension into the movie would kind of open her up to emote a little bit more, you are incorrect. Because this is how she reacts when she sees that her friend had hung herself, in quotation marks.
Mahia! Oh no, Mahia!
Look at the noose! It's not even tight, it's loose! How could you mess that up? Like, tighten it around her neck, and then put her in a full body harness and hang her from the ceiling like that, like Frank Reynolds did on Always Sunny. Or hell, with this camera angle, you could have just had her stand on a chair, and then her body kind of hides the chair. And if she's really worried about Brandon Leeing herself and, accidentally hanging herself for real, get somebody to just hold the rope up a little bit more. Do something. I mean, why even have a close-up when this looks like shit? Just show her dangling from her feet, show Dajit attempt to make a basic human emotion and fade out, or just something like that. 13 minutes in, guys. 13 minutes in. Strap in for some fun. So, she's sad because she knows he killed her, and even in this very basic scene where they're kind of talking to each other, they're still finding ways of fucking this up. For one, if you have a costume that looks that bad, have him in the shadows or something. Maybe just have like a zoom in of his face, a zoom in on her face, and then do that back and forth for the entire scene. It's lazy, I get it, but it takes away from how shoddy that costume looks. Secondly, for some reason, he's talking to her, and then at some point when he's talking to her, his voice sounds fine, and then for one line, they distort it, and then it just goes back to normal.
Oh, I am hurt. Yes, I know. That is why I must do it. I will leave you alone. Just sleep, Dajat.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. Why did it change and then it didn't change? I don't know. Let's just keep moving on. Another thing that I noticed about some of these scenes is they last for way too long. Like this scene where he's trying to put her to sleep so he can go out killing, using all of his arms to grope her until she falls asleep. Sure, I guess that just makes as much sense as everything else, but check out how long it holds on this. If if you want my opinion, I think one of these arms was Danzig himself, and he was just wanting to kind of hold on this shot as long as he can without being sued for sexual harassment. I have absolutely no evidence to back this up, but it feels good. And after a long establishing shot of a woman we've never seen before and won't see again after the scene, spoiler alert, the Spider-Man attacks and kills this prostitute? I think she was a hooker, but honestly, even on my second viewing, my mind was melting by this point, so I really couldn't keep up. We come back to Dajit, who...
No!
Oh, that was so close to real acting. That was so close. Oh my god, if we get a third no, I think she might actually nail it this time. Let's get a third one in here.
The jet. Are you okay?
I was asleep. Wasn't I?
Yes. So?
How? How are you asleep? How are you asleep? You were standing up. I don't know people from the Guinness Book of World Records who can sleep while standing up. What are you talking about? Did you not notice that this looks a little bit weird if you don't establish that she was maybe lying on the ground and then she woke up and then stood on her feet and said, I was sleeping, wasn't I? Okay, then you could have done that. It just looks like she was standing up and sleeping. I'm sorry, guys. I'm focusing a lot on this, and I might feel that mind melting again. So let's take 5. I need another beer. Let's take 5. I'm going to finish it. I know I will, okay? Well, I just need a little bit more time. I need to kind of collect my thoughts before going on here. Okay, so let's just do this at double time, because if I stop at every single thing, it's going to be an hour-long review. The rest of this scene is just women being catty. Watch Real Housewives if you care about that. Skip to her going to a dirty movie to try to keep her awake, but she happens to fall asleep, and big surprise, the creeps who go to dirty movies at midnight are also rapists. Who would have thunk? But she says no thank you to the most polite rapists I've ever seen in my entire life, pushes them away, and attempts to leave when... You know, I didn't notice this when I first was watching the movie, but I noticed it when I was editing. Is that a box fan that's spinning against a light to make it look old-timey? Why? Why would you have that in your show? You can clearly see it. Oh my god, it looked fine. It really did. It looked like an old-timey movie. But why did you pull the shot back to get that in there? Did you not rewatch this before putting it out? Okay, moving on. Next, she goes to a cafe to get some espresso and croissants in her when the waiter comes over and his badly hidden skull and crossbones neck tattoo, maybe invest in a little higher collared shirt next time, and says,
Madame, we are closing. Would you like another refill?
She didn't even get, like, an initial refill, my guy. You just saw her walk in. That's not her cup. That's someone else's cup. Okay, we're gonna skip that here. We're skipping it. She said she's good. He warns her about the killer and says they're about to close, and she pays for the coffee she didn't even order. Do people in France just give money for sitting at a coffee shop? Hops, no need to get mad at a terrible movie. You're supposed to be having fun with this, Zach. Okay, anyway, so Dajit not only knows a way out of this conundrum, but she needs to tell someone about it. So she decides to call the police.
Hello?
Without pushing any buttons or any sort of rotary.
Yes, I would like to report a murder. That is the correct address, yes. Please hurry.
And she calls the police to come over to her house, even though she didn't say it. Excuse me, guys. Is it all time? What are you talking about? You didn't say anything! Alright, let's just keep moving on. I'm feeling good now. But she commits suicide to stop the magical tit-tier dream spider from killing her friends. I can't believe I actually said that, which does not make the man arachnid too happy. And before he could do anything to try to save her, the most unintimidating police show up with the saddest, most unimpressive battering ram ever. Did you forget where your placement was? Oh my god. Every single time I watch this, I find out new stuff about it that I just cannot believe is real. And for some reason, these cops have no problem. They're not fazed at all by this six-armed creature and tells them to back away from her, man.
Don't move, monsieur! Take your hands off of her neck!
Take your hands off her neck. You know, I've been a small-time YouTuber for a while now. I've made my mistakes and I've grown from them. But if there's one thing I could tell any YouTuber or filmmaker out there is maybe, I don't know, before concluding your film and posting it online or showing it to a group full of your friends, how about you fucking watch it first to see if there's any obvious issues with this movie? His hands were not on her when they broke in. His hands were nowhere near her when they broke in. Sure, it started with hands on her. Then she fell to the ground. Then they broke in. Nowhere did they see that his hands were on her. This cannot be happening. This can't be happening. There's no way that this wasn't like a money-making scheme. There's no way. He had to put a bunch of his money into something because the IRS was coming after him or something. There's no way. Anyways, let's wrap this up because they killed the spider. They shoot the spider, they kill him, they stand over Dajit's body, and it fades out to a supposedly dead Dajit. Even though you can clearly see her breathing and her eyes flicker when the movie starts fading out, only to come back to our hostess who makes a lame joke, again, just like the Crypt Keeper, and... No. I can't. I'm sorry, guys. I'm pulling a YouTuber privilege card here and doing this into two parts because I apologize. I really want to get this out as quickly as I can because I'm already over my one video a week deadline and I just don't have the strength to go through two other stories that are in this movie. So let's just finish this one. The albino spider of Dajit, or... While I was editing this, I have a strong suspicion I was mispronouncing it and it's supposed to be Dajet, but I'm not going to redo everything because of one fuck up. It's a masterpiece of mayhem, a Picasso of pathetic, an indescribable array of incompetence, and I would encourage anyone who wants to see it to buy a six-pack of beer first because it's the only way you're going to get to the end. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and cheers.